You can just like be back here. We're new to this whole vlogging shit. So anyways, it's not a clickbait title. I am actually selling my $25,000 watch. Here's what it looks like, just so you can see it. So it's a Rolex Oyster Perpetual. It's covered by the hands. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's this nice black and rose gold watch. I got it when did I get it? I got it a couple years ago. Alright, so let me give you the backstory on this and why I'm selling it. So let's rewind a little bit. I started my business jacked 6.5 years ago. When I started the company, it was me and one other person. We started the company with no money. We each put in a few $100 to the business, really to register the LLC on LegalZoom. And we started building up from there. So that was we officially registered the business in July of 2012. Fast forward to the end of 2014, the person I started the business with, he left. And when he left the business, we each owned 50% of the business. So I had a choice to make, and the choice I made was to keep the business, but in order to do that, I needed to buy him out. So we came to an agreement, and it was a buyout agreement where I was buying out his 50% of the business. And it's the way these things work oftentimes, if you don't know, is that it's usually not just one payment and you're done. Oftentimes you can spread these out over the course of time. So anyways, we came to an agreement, and I won't get into details of what it was, but it took me a couple years to pay off the agreement. And so at the end of it, I officially owned 50% of the business, and I think it took me, I don't know, it was a couple years, I forget what it was. So what I did was, once I made that final payment to officially own 100% of Jacked, I then bought this watch. So that was my present to myself. Yes, I had just spent a bunch of money to buy back the business, or buy the other half of the business, and then I went and spent another $25,000 on a watch. Really, I spent more than that because you have to use post-tax dollars on it. But anyways, this was like my present to myself, and I bought it as kind of this thing as like, hey, I did something that was very difficult for me. That whole entire period, that couple years, was a really difficult time for me to get through, personally, emotionally, mentally, and then financially, obviously, as well, to buy back the business. But it meant a lot when I actually did it. I wasn't really sure at times. I was like, wow, I just committed to a lot of money to pay off, and it took a lot. So anyways, it was hard for me, and this was my present to myself, to do it. And as a constant reminder, I would always, obviously I would put it on, wear it, and looks pretty nice. And it was just this constant reminder of what I'd done, and so I never forgot it. And there was an element of me of like, hey, like I have this nice watch, I have it, and I put it on, and if you know me along the way over the years, I'm not one to necessarily buy things like this. Always really avoided them. Obviously, I'll show you guys like this apartment. This is not how I've always lived, and in general, I live well below my means. It's just the way I do things, and I reinvest a ton in the business. Pretty much all my money, I just reinvest back in business, and then I use some money on stuff like this here and there. But then I kind of realized a couple of things happened, right? One is that I got jumped. So Sasha and I'm gonna turn the camera to Sasha. Nope, Sasha's not gonna. So Sasha, my girlfriend, is behind the camera. We were walking home one day, and we got jumped. And since then, and they took like my phone, my wallet, some money I had, And
not your watch at the time.
And this was, and actually, so yeah, I have to actually correct. She's right. This is not the watch I had on at the time, right? So I had a different watch on, and the two guys that were jumping us. So let me just actually rewind the quick little story, right? We're walking down a street in New York, and if you ever lived in New York, you've been in New York, usually the streets are full of people, right? It doesn't matter where you are, there's like people all over, right? City that never sleeps. For whatever reason, this block we were on, this avenue, there's no fucking people, right? So it's just me and Sasha. We're walking home, and the way you kind of walk in New York is, if you have a destination to go to, and you're here, depending on how the lights are turning, you'll just take whatever route kind of is open, right? It's faster, right? So it's like, oh, there's a light here, but I can go this way. Okay, I'm gonna go this way. So we're just zigging and zagging. And we walked down this one avenue, and it's just me and her, and we just finished dinner. It was St. Patrick's Day, I believe. And Sasha was a little upset at me. Can't remember for what. I probably did something stupid or said something. Yep, she's nodding. So then we're walking home, and we're about a quarter way, halfway down, and I'm looking down the street, and I'm noticing, I'm always aware of my surroundings. I think it's something that I learned from when I played soccer growing up. I was always checking around my shoulders to see who was around, and it's kind of just something that stuck with me. So in New York, I've been here 10 plus years, I always look around at my surroundings. Nothing's ever happened to me, but I'm walking down the street looking around, and it's dark down this avenue. We've never been down this avenue before, and there's no one in front of us. And so we're walking, and about halfway down, I see two guys walking towards us. And I'm always aware, right? I'm looking at them, and I just keep an eye on them. We walk by, right? They walk by us. We walk by, and I'm looking over my shoulder just to see if they're gonna come, right? Because I'm always worried about that, even though it never happened. But this time it did. So as they were walking by us, they turn and they start walking towards us. I'm like, shit. It's kind of that feeling, you're just like, I know what's gonna happen right now, and there's no real avoiding it. Sasha had heels on. There's no way we could run away. Just wasn't gonna happen. So it's like, all right, like this is happening, and so in my head I'm thinking like, what am I gonna do? And so we keep walking. I'm like, Sasha, let's like walk. Let's go faster. And then I start telling her to move. I'm like, hey, cross the street. And she's like, no, we don't live that way. And she's right, we didn't. However, she didn't realize.
I had no idea.
Sasha had, yeah.
She had no idea what was going on.
She had no idea what was going on, but I knew what was going on. So I'm trying to get her to move. So she's moving across the street. And it all happened so fast that as she's moving across the street, a car happens to come across in front of her. And the two guys end up just turning on me. And one guy just comes up, clocks me, and I'm down. I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna fight. Like, there's two guys, there's her. What am I gonna do? Fight, right? And there'd just been a bunch of slashings at the time in New York. So I'm like, shit, like, if I fight back and they slash me or whatever, let me just like take it and just give them my shit. So I'm on the ground. I give them my phone, give my wallet. I actually take off my watch at the time. It was not this one. Take off my watch, and they're like, no, we don't want it. And I was like, really? You fucking kidding me? You're jumping me. My watch isn't good enough for you? And you're like, unbelievable. But anyways, that happened, and so the reason why I bring up this story is because since then I haven't felt comfortable in New York. So I then got this watch, and anytime I'm walking around the city with this, to be honest, I'm just scared, right? Like, I'm still a little jumpy since I got jumped. For whatever reason, I just can't be super comfortable, which is crazy because I've been in every freaking part of New York, super dangerous parts, and never thought twice about walking down the street at any hour of the night, right? Like, I used to be in parts of the city that now I probably wouldn't go. 3 a.m. just like walking around, not thinking, like, I'm so safe here, and whatever, I just don't feel comfortable. So walking down the street with this thing, just I don't feel free anymore, to be honest. So that's one factor why I don't even wear the watch anymore. But two is that And this is the bigger one. You know, I stopped kind of wearing this watch, or I would wear it and like hide it. But the bigger reason why I'm selling this is because I don't need it anymore. And here's what I mean by that. There's a couple of things. Remember when I said I bought this because it was kind of like this, you know, this signal of like, hey, I now own the entire business. Whenever I look at it, it's there. And I was almost using it to kind of like, not justify it, but like validate myself. And now, I don't know, it's been a couple years, I'm like, I don't need that anymore. I know who I am. I don't need, you know, this thing as a reminder. I definitely don't need a $25,000 thing as a reminder. It's ridiculous. And I got a little caught up with buying nice shit that I don't need, right? I spend all my time basically on my business. It's what I enjoy doing. If I'm not working on the business, I'm spending time with Sasha and the dogs here. But that's really what I care about, and I don't need this fancy stuff. And you know, I'm at this point where I'm like, I know what I've accomplished, and I'm confident in myself, and I don't need these things. So I haven't been wearing this watch, right? I haven't worn this for weeks now, and I'm like, hey, instead of just not wearing it, why don't I sell it? Because I could probably sell it for, I don't know, maybe I'll get 20 grand for it. But then I can use that 20,000. What I'm most excited about is I can use that 20,000. I'm not going to go buy something else or, you know, do something with it. I'm going to spend it on my business, right? That's what I enjoy doing. I can't spend this, and it's really annoying to me that I have it sitting here, and it's like this money that doesn't make me money, right? It's you know, as of this point, the value probably went down. Maybe people can justify, well, it's an asset. You can like. No, it's not. It's depreciating in value, right? Like maybe some rare watches that are collectibles, or maybe later, right? This thing will be worth 30 grand or something. It could be. But right now, it's illiquid. I can't use it. So I want to free up my cash so I can put it in my business, because I know over time, historically, if I put 20,000 in the business, I can make 40, right? And so it's like, why would I not do that right now? So that's what I'm doing. I'm freeing up the money. I'm going to throw it back in the business. And yeah, so I'm getting rid of it, and I think people get caught up in nice things. I mean, I do, right? I mean, we'll even give you a little tour of this apartment in a second. We're moving out of this apartment, right? We don't, you know, Sasha may not want to move out of this apartment, but it's just a stupid use of money, right? Like, it's like, if I want to build my businesses faster, why would I not keep throwing money back in? And I do. Like, I put a lot of money back in the business, but I want to put even more, right? If we reduce our rent by a couple thousand a month, that's $25,000 a year that I can put more in the business. So that's 25 plus another 25. Like, I can free up 50K to throw in my business over the next year. So I want to do it. So, you know, people get caught up in it. And another point, I was talking to someone named Juan, and so I get this guy named Juan that I know, and he runs a business, and he's starting to see some success. And he felt, you know, I was telling him about this Rolex thing that I'm gonna sell. His first thing was like, "What the hell? You own a $25,000 watch?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know. What am I doing?" But it was more so like, he's like, "Yeah, I feel myself getting in that." He's tasting a little bit of success now. He was like me, started the business, you know, not with anything, starting to see some success, and he's like, I'm tempted to like get a Mercedes and get a nicer apartment and all of these things. And we started talking. It's like, why do you need it? Is kind of like what I was asking him. Like, why are you doing it? And he was kind of like, I want to show people, like, hey, like, yeah, when I wasn't doing well, like now I am, and like, look at what I did. And to me, that's just a losing game. So I had a chat with him, right? And as much as I'm saying this for everyone else, I'm also saying this for myself right now, right? It's a losing game, right? No one actually gives a damn about what you have, right? So if you're trying to show people, right, hey, look at me with my watch or my car or whatever, they may look at it for a second, but they don't actually care. People care about themselves. Or the people you're actually trying to like impress don't care about it. I was like, Juan, I could care less if you have a Mercedes or not, right? I care about you and how you talk and how you think. Not about what you have, right? And it's the same thing for me and other people, right? Like, it's a funny thing that happens, right? When you have nothing, right? When you're starting your business, you have nothing, you're eating PB&Js, you're like trying to scrap by, like you dream, right? Or at least I did. I dream about like, wow, this watch and like this apartment and these views that I have, right? It's just like, I literally dreamed about this stuff, right? And And the interesting part, I was like, people saw me, and they saw me struggling, right? In the early days, I had nothing, and then as you start kind of making money, you're like, okay, I have some money, right? I can spend it here and there, and so you start getting, you get a nice watch, you get a nice apartment, you get these things, thinking you're like impressing people, and that people above you, right? Say there's people that have that you want to be, or you aspire to be, or you admire, or whatever. The funny thing is that they don't give a shit about that stuff, right? Because I'm slowly, and I don't have a ton of money, right? But I'm starting to get a little bit more money now, and I'm looking at it, and I actually see people who are buying nice things and doing these, whatever, and I'm like, I could see myself in that, and is like, wow, I'm just buying nice stuff to buy nice stuff to show someone I have nice stuff. But that doesn't actually impress me, because the funny part, like, I could buy, right, like, I could go out tomorrow and just buy another 4 of these, right? Like, I have the money to do it. But once you have the money to be able to buy 4 of them, or 8 of them, or whatever, it loses its appeal. It's just like, okay, so what? So now, I don't care about it. I don't care if other people have it. I care more about what's in people's minds, who they are as people. And that's a funny thing, like, people, you may hear it, right, like, when people are talking, they're like, you don't need the fancy cars and watches and whatever, like, really successful people, but I didn't really, like, get it until recently, until I started having a bit more money that I could spend on those things, and then I realized I actually don't care about those things, because once you have, it's more the chase, once you have the ability to have a nice watch, or once you have the ability to have an apartment like this, or once you get it, it stops losing that allure a little bit. And the second I moved in here, don't get me wrong, I love these views, but I stopped really wanting it because I achieved it. It's more about, I visualized something, I put in the work, and then I achieved it. And now I'm like, okay, let's move on. And so anyways, that's, I'll wrap up there, but it's kind of one of these things where you don't need these nice things. And for me, I had to go through this. Like, I had to, I experienced this, I bought this, I have the nice apartment, I have all this stuff, but now that I have it, I'm like, all right, I don't really need it. And but I need to try it. Everyone goes through their own path. You try it, and now I'm going to get rid of it and just keep funneling money into the business, because that's what actually brings me joy. I'm not any happier than, today than I was when I started the business. Like, I was, really thinking about it. I was like, what made me happy? Like, I was so happy when there was no money, when I was Airbnb my own apartment, my own room, and sleeping on the couch just to make rent so that I could keep doing the business, right? Like, I was happy then. And so, like, what makes me happy is working on the business. And so that's what I want to do, right? Sure, I'm gonna have a little bit nicer apartment than I had in those days, have some nicer clothes or whatever. Not really, actually. But and just focus on what I love. So anyways, I'm selling this thing. I haven't worn it for weeks, and it's time to let it go. I'm no longer attached to it, and yeah, that's what I have to say. So anyways, I hope if you're watching this, if you're building a business, if you're starting to get tempted to buy nice things, try and learn from me, I guess, right? Like, you don't need it. No one cares about it, right? You're not impressing people. The people or the people you are impressing aren't even the people that you really want to impress, right? Like, and I'm not saying I'm the type of person you want to impress, but like, let's say I am. This kind of shit is not gonna do it, right? A nice apartment, a nice whatever. It's not. It's who you are as a person, what you've done in your business, what kind of business you've built. Like, that's what I care about. That excites me, right? Not what you have. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it at least maybe changed one person who's building a business or who's not building a business, just anyone thinks about nice things, and that you don't really need them, or if you're going to get them, you're doing it really, really for yourself, right? You're getting this a nice apartment because you want it, not because you want to show other people, right? Do things for yourself, because at the end of the day, people actually don't care what you have. They'll see it for a second, but they really don't care. So if you get it, like, you know, a big reason why I've kept this apartment so long is honestly for Sasha, right? Like, she likes this thing, right? I want to reduce expenses, but I'm willing to spend a little bit more because it makes her happy.
It makes me really happy.
Like it contributes to her happiness. So when we move, you know, we're moving to Miami, we'll get a little bit nicer apartment than I would even like to spend, right? But it's because I'm doing it for her specifically, and I know that. And it's not because I'm doing it for someone else. Like, at this point, who the fuck cares, right? I'm more interested in having a home office and just working all the time. So anyways, do shit that makes you happy. Do it for you. If you're gonna buy nice things, just be honest with it that, like, you're doing it for yourself. But if you're doing it for someone else, don't fucking do it. All right, look, this is what I'm looking at the entire time. Watch this. This is ridiculous. This is Piero. He gave me snuggled with his mom, and then there's Gabby sitting here, and this is our life.
This is what we do.
This is what we do. We hang out, and we sit in here while I work, and look outside. All right. How you want to end it?
Like and subscribe, please.
There we go. That's good.